Good morning, boys and girls. All right, where we left off, Ben and Griffin are still planning on the big heist into Palomino's Emporium. But what seems to be in the way is this little feller who's inside the fence. And so, if they were to get through the fence, then they have to get through this guy. And they need someone's help with that. So, here we go. Chapter 8. Savannah Drysdale was talking to a rabbit. She whispered softly into a floppy ear as she held the animal on her lap, rocking slowly on her frilly purple quilt. Griffin and Ben could not make out what she was saying, but it was obvious that the creature was totally calm in her arms. Mrs. Drysdale cleared her throat. Savannah, louder. Savannah, your friends are here. She disappeared into the hall. Savannah regarded them dubiously, but she set the rabbit down. It happened It hopped over to an elaborate cage in the corner where it shared a water feeding tube with a pair of hamsters. I guess you have a lot of pets, Griffin observed. Not pets, Savannah replied pointedly. In this house, we're all equal partners. My mom and dad, me, my brother, our dog, two cats, four rabbits, seven hamsters, three turtles, parakeet, and an albino chameleon. If it's a if it's an albino, how does it change color? Asked Ben. He has to stay white. It's a disability, and his name is Lorenzo, not it. Griffin cleared his throat carefully. That's really cool that you can talk to rabbits. Does it work with other animals that way? We don't talk about the weather, if that's what you mean. Animals are sensitive to the tone of your voice, the vibe you put out. They know who to trust and who not to. They may not be able to understand your words, but they know they're safe with you. It's not a conversation, but you're definitely communicating. Why? We need you to talk to a dog, Ben blurted. Savannah's eyes narrowed. What dog? Remember what you said about how all animals are innocent inside? Griffin reminded her. Well, there's this guard dog on Ninth Street, a Doberman. He's pretty much pure T Rex. We're talking vicious, nasty, mean. Stop right there, Savannah interrupted. A guard dog is only mean because that's how he was trained. If you take a newborn puppy and raise it so that the one behavior that ever gets rewarded is aggressive, you're going to wind up with a pretty rough adult dog. Yeah, that's Luther, all right, put in Ben. But that doesn't make it the dog's fault, Savannah continued sharply, and it doesn't mean that a little puppy isn't trapped in there somewhere, waiting for a chance to come out. What if the good dog's been trapped so long that it's just gone forever? Griffin wondered, laying it on thick to get to Savannah. Then you're just left with 100% bad dog. That's so sad. There's no such thing as a 100% bad dog, said Savannah with certainty. You take me to this Doberman. All right, here we go. 6:10 p.m. As Tom Dufferin drove away from Palomino's Emporium, Griffin and Ben emerged from an alley, escorting Savannah to her first meeting with Luther. Oh, he's spectacular, she whispered at first sight of the Doberman, and then choked back a sniffle of emotion. Sorry, she said, catching herself, but what kind of heartless person imprisons an elegant and noble animal behind a fence? The kind who doesn't want an elegant and noble animal eating any pedestrians? Ben suggested dryly. He's kidding, Griffin put in quickly. The guy whose store this is, he simply runs a comic shop like a military base. You should see the inside. Everything's locked away and alarm wired. Griffin's outrage was genuine. Of all the places in town to break into, Palomino's Emporium had to be the most treacherous. Savannah nodded grimly. To him, this beautiful dog is just another keep out sign. We'll see about that. Luther, sweetie, she called in a loving tone. Come and say hello. I'm a friend. The Doberman stopped dead in its yard patrol and regarded her. its gaze oozing anything but friendship. A low rumble seemed to rise from its belly. You're right, she intoned to Griffin. I can feel the resistance. The poor thing has been taught to be hostile and angry. No, you're doing great, Griffin hissed. When it was me, he tried to chew through the gate. She tried to take another step forward. The boys did not accompany her. Luther's ears went up. Then the growl got louder. Savannah glared at him. You're ruining everything. A living creature has a sophisticated radar that can sense the emotions around him. Your negativity is spooking him. Godzilla couldn't spook that dog, Ben mumbled, backing away. Savannah unzipped a small duffel bag and produced a hard rubber toy in the form of a pink poodle with fur and a pom-pom tail. Griffin frowned at it. What's that supposed to be? His long-lost brother? Part of the cruelty of a guard dog's training is the way his world becomes all confrontation and conflict, Savannah explained. We have to bring out the playful side of his personality, which has been suppressed for so long. The imagination, the whimsy, the fun. She turned to the Doberman, smiling encouragingly. Here, Luther, I brought something for you. She gently lobbed the poodle over the fence. It never even reached the ground. With a blood-curdling roar, Luther leaped in the air and intercepted the gift with tearing jaws. The poodle was dismantled in a number of seconds, and there stood the Doberman in the center of a scattering of pink rubber shreds. The scene looked like someone had fed a box of erasers through a jet engine. Wow, Griffin managed in awe. Savannah nodded in agreement. What a magnificent animal. Magnificent was not the word Griffin and Ben would have chosen. While Savannah made nightly visits to the store in an attempt to reach Luther's inner puppy, Griffin and Ben turned their attention to Swindle's burglar alarm. For 3 straight days, they spent the after-school hours in the Slovak's den, squinting at their plasma TV. Their noses were pressed to the screen as they painstakingly followed the path of a huge finger. I see blue spots in front of my eyes, Ben complained. You're lucky, Griffin told him. I can barely see it all. Come on. We've almost got it. If it had been Griffin's idea to secretly videotape, it had been Griffin's idea to secretly videotape Tom Dufferin punching in the alarm code. Then they could work out the numbers from the movement of the assistant manager's hand. Over the past 72 hours, the boys had memorized every hangnail and skin wrinkle, but the 4-digit sequence continued to elude them. Griffin backed up the tape and ran it again. I think the first and last numbers might be 1. See, the finger at the top left, and the third is probably 0. It's at the very bottom of the pad. That leaves just the second number. If it's in line with the 1, only lower down, Ben observed. What's under 1 on a keyboard? 4 or 7? So it's either 1401 or 1701. If we guess wrong, the alarm will bring every cop in town on our heads, Pence said nervously. With a sigh, Griffin paused the tape. So how's Savannah coming along with Luther? Supervising the evening sessions at the fence had become Ben's job, while Griffin crafted the rest of the plan. Terrible, Ben reported. At this rate, we won't have to worry about the alarm. We're both going to be torn into pieces before we get to the door. No better than last time? The barking isn't quite as loud, Ben offered, but that's only because she's feeding it peanut butter treats. I think its mouth is glued shut. If the gate wasn't there, it would spit out the treats and eat Savannah. She says she can do it, Griffin insisted. The dog just has to let down its guard and trust her. Feel kind of lousy tricking her into this, Ben admitted. She probably has better ways to spend her nights than kneeling at a fence trying to sweet talk a ferocious beast. We'll give her a share of the money when we get it, Griffin promised. You sure you boys can see from there? Came a voice. Whoa! Startled, Ben reached for the remote, but it was too late. His father was already in the living room. Uh-oh. Mr. Slovak frowned. What's this, some kind of homemade reality TV? Griffin spoke up. No, it's a project for school. You have to guess the code. He hit the play button on the VCR. We've got it narrowed down to 1401 or 1701. School sure has changed since the days of the 3 R's, commented Ben's father. I don't have a clue, unless an odd expression appeared on his face. Is there a chance your teacher might be a Star Trek fan? Griffin perked up. Why? Well, people choose combinations that will be easy for them to remember. On classic Trek from the 1960s, the serial number on the USS Enterprise was NCC 1701. He looked embarrassed. I know, I'm an old nerd. Griffin thought back to the security cases of figurines, models, and toys at Palomino's Emporium. There had been merchandise from dozens of TV shows, movies, and fads of every variety, but 60s Star Trek seemed to be a favorite. Don't worry, Mr. Slovak, Griffin said, unable to keep the triumph out of his voice. I think the guy we're dealing with might be an old nerd, too. All right, that leaves us to chapter 9, boys and girls. All right, we're coming along. All right, until next time.